Hey guys, welcome back to another great game of CEDH. Before we start, I do want to thank everyone as we just hit 2,000 subscribers. And I know I say this every time, but I'm so thankful and amazed every time we hit a new milestone. So, for all those new to the channel and to the veterans that have been here from the start, thanks, and here's to many more videos in the future. Also, if you're interested in playing with us, hop on our Discord. We have an ever-growing community and we'll love to talk MTG or whatever strikes our fancy. And another benefit is we often let people know when we play and would love to meet some new people. Alright, block there, kill that. Oh, that is trample. Guess I'm just dead on board. First up, we have Fernando, piloting Brago, King Eternal. This Azorius artifact stax deck utilizes lots of fast mana and stax pieces to slow his opponents down, while relying on Brago to reset his fast mana and gain advantage. But if the deck looks interesting, check out our video deck tech, as we got Brago himself to explain the power he yields. Although he's not the fastest speaker, so I suggest playing it at a faster speed. Next up, we have Hidden and his Mighty Morphin Dwarf Rangers, with Magda at the helm. This is a mono-red combo list that uses Magda's insane ability to generate lots of treasures to not only ramp, but search out key artifacts, and oh boy can it win quickly. In the third spot is Cedh, playing Ikra Tymna, otherwise known as Bad Farm. This is another ad-naz list that utilizes Ikra's ability to gain lots of life and really dig deep off an ad-naz, as well as using Tymna and a suite of creature-based stacks pieces to create an impressive value engine on its own. And bringing up the rear, we have Jimmy and Xur. This version is Reanimator Xur and aims to use Xur's powerful attack trigger to search out key enchantments and outvalue his opponents. This version does forgo necro opponents, and while personally I think it should be in the list, it instead uses a suite of surprising combos that you just don't expect. But without further ado, let's get on to the gameplay. Fernando starts off the game with the command tower, which he uses to cast the Mana Vault. Hidden is living the dream as he plays a snow-covered mountain and casts a Sol Ring. Cedh has a Verdant Catacombs as land, and he casts a Chrome Mox, imprinting his Sickening Dreams. But he's not done yet, as he then taps the Mox for a Deathrite Shaman, and cracks his Verdant for a Savannah, but hands the turn over to Jimmy while he searches. Jimmy also has some fast mana as he casts a Mana Crypt, and ends his turn just playing an island. Fernando plays and cracks a Polluted Delta in search of a Tundra. After shuffling, he then casts a Mystic Remora, forcing Jimmy to respawn with a Brainstorm. He draws 3 and puts 2 back, and not liking the value a fish can bring, attempts to counter it with the Force of Will, exiling a Windsor Rebuke from his hand. The fish is countered, but Fernando follows it up with a Rhystic Study, and finally a Sensei's Divining Top.
Oh my god. What the frick is your hand? Are you a monster?
Apparently.
Hidden on his turn plays an Urza Saga. He gets his first lore counter, and Hidden then casts a Karn, the Great Creator. This does allow Fernando to draw off the Rhystic, but unfortunately for everyone else, the Karn does resolve, with Hidden uptaking it to take out Cedh's Chrome Mox. Cedh draws, but unfortunately it's not a land, as he just has to pass. Jimmy rolls for Crypt, but is safe for his turn. He plays the Cephalid Coliseum as land, but also doesn't have much without his Mana Crypt, and hands it to Fernando. Fernando starts off by taking 1 off his tap vault. He then plays a snow-covered island, and uses it to cast an Arkham's Astrolabe. He gets the draw off the ETB, but again decides just to pass after that. Hidden gets another lore counter on his Saga, and plays a Prismatic Vista as his land. Luckily for him, Karn only affects his opponents, as he uses his Sol Ring to help cast an Adaptive Automaton. This triggers the Rhystic, and in response, Hidden cracks his Vista. But he's not the only one with a response, as Cedh exiles Fernando's Polluted Delta to his Elf, and casts a Cabal Ritual, which gets Fernando another card. And with his 3 black, Cedh casts an Opposition Agent.
Yeah.
Damn. And the responses just keep coming, as in response to the Rhystic Study trigger for the agent, Fernando casts a Mystical Tutor. Jimmy, though, likes the look of this Mystical Tutor, and decides to Narset Reversal it, letting Fernando draw off the study. The Narset resolves with Jimmy finding a demonic consultation. Now with that out of the way, Fernando decides to try it again and recast his mystical. This time it resolves with him finding a force of negation. He draws it off the heuristic, and the oppo finally resolves, with Cedh stealing a mountain from Hidden. And now the original heuristic on the stack, Hidden pays for it with his saga, and the automaton enters and Hidden names dwarves. Lastly, he upticks Karn to take out Jimmy's mana crypt. Cedh finds an arid mesa off the top and cracks it for a scrub land. He exiles Hidden's prismatic with his deathrec and casts Tymna. He lets Fernando draw again and hits Jimmy with his agent before heading to his second main and paying a life to draw off Tymna. Jimmy has the swamp as land, but again decides to just leave his mana open. Fernando again takes one off the vault and plays another snow-covered island. The whole table groans though, as he then casts a Smothering Tithe and passes. Hidden untaps, and before he draws, attempts to lightning bolt the opposition agent. This triggers the heuristic, but Hidden pays for it with the saga, and the bolt resolves. He draws, but doesn't pay for the Smothering Tithe. The saga then gets his third counter, and he sacrifices it to find a Mox Opal. And on his main, he casts his commander Magda, and pays the heuristic, before heading to combat. The automaton is turned sideways at Fernando, and triggers Magda to gain a treasure. Fernando takes the hit, and on the second main, Hidden uses a newly acquired treasure to cast a Dwarven Armorer. This time he can't pay for the heuristic, and he ends his turn upticking Karn to kill Fernando's treasure token. Cedh draws, and also doesn't pay for the tithe. Cedh then heads to combat and swings Tymna at Jimmy, who takes the hit with Cedh paying a life to draw. And this time he pays for the tithe. He then plays a Wooded Foothills as land, and casts the Mana Crypt. Although I'm not sure why, other than to just give another card to Fernando. The Foothills is then sacrificed for a Bayou, and he passes to Jimmy as he searches. Jimmy draws and pays for his tithe.
Look at you guys being responsible. I love it.
I've got nothing else to do.
Yeah, same.
He plays a Plains as land and hands it over to Fernando. Fernando takes one and plays a Scalding Tarn. Now without an opposition agent, he cracks it for a snow-covered island, which he taps for one and casts an unactivatable Soul Ring. I'm liking this card so far.
Yeah, it seems like it's doing work.
I like it.
Hidden untaps and draws. He gives Fernando a treasure and plays a Survivor's Encampment as land. Hidden then follows it up with a Blood Moon. The first one to respond is Cedh, as he uses his Deathrite and a Bayou to fight a white and a green. Hidden does pay for the heuristic, and then he upticks Karn to kill Cedh's Mana Crypt. Hidden proceeds to combat, with Cedh using his floating green on a Nature's Claim to kill the Blood Moon. He doesn't pay for the heuristic, and then uses his floating white to Swords Magda. He gives another card to Fernando, and Hidden gains some life.
Damn. He gave you like 7 life this turn.
I know.
What a nice guy.
Boom.
Now in combat, Hidden decides on a little payback as the automaton goes at Cedh. On his upkeep, Cedh casts a Vampiric Tutor. He pays for the heuristic, and with the tutor on the stack, Jimmy responds with a light tutor of his own. He pays the tax and finds a heuristic study of his own, with Cedh finding a card and drawing it for turn. He does give a treasure to Fernando and plays a Cavern of Souls as land, naming humans. He then taps out to cast an uncounterable Ranger of Eos, giving Fernando yet another card. The Ranger then finds a Sarah's Ascendant to hand, and Cedh heads to combat. Tymna is turned sideways at Fernando, who blocks with his face, and on his second main, Cedh pays a life to draw a card and give Fernando another treasure. Jimmy draws and also decides to give Fernando another treasure. Boy, the table's really happy that Karn is still out. Jimmy wants to make his turn quick as he casts his tutored heuristic and pays for the other. Unfortunately for him, Fernando counters it with a Force of Negation, pitching a Dovin's Veto. Jimmy is done after that, but at his end step, Fernando improvises out a Werve invention to find a Lithoform engine. Fernando takes one and untaps. He cracks an Arid Mesa for snow-covered plains and casts another useful artifact, this one being a Lightning Greaves. He then follows it up with his commander, Brago. It resolves, and he does forget that he actually can't equip the Greaves due to Karn, and has to pass after that. Hidden draws and gives another treasure to Fernando. He then casts a mana crypt of his own and gives another card to Fernando. It looks like he needs all the mana he can get as he then recasts Magda, but doesn't pay for this Rhystic trigger either. And with the last of his mana, he casts a Cursed Mirror, letting Fernando draw again. The mirror resolves and enters as a copy of the Ranger, whose ETB finds Hidden a Ragavan. Hidden then heads to combat and sends the Dwarven Armorer at Fernando, with the Ranger and Automaton heading at Jimmy. This triggers Magda to gain Hidden 2 treasures, with Jimmy taking the hit and Fernando blocking with Brago. On his second main, Hidden finishes up casting his tutored Ragavan and paying for the Rhystic with his remaining treasure. He passes, although he did quickly remember to uptick Karn to kill another treasure token. Cedh draws and gives Fernando another treasure. He has a Gaia's Cradle as land and casts his Sarah's Ascendant. Fernando gets another card, with Cedh then casting his other commander, Ikra Shadiki. This time he pays the tax and heads to combat. The Ranger heads at Fernando, while Tymna and the Deathrite head at Jimmy. Just as before, the Ranger bounces off Brago, while Jimmy takes the hit. Cedh then gains some life off Ikra and pays a life to draw, but is done after that. Jimmy draws and gives Fernando another treasure, but he likes what he draws as he then casts a Thassa's Oracle. He pays for the Rhystic, and with the ETB on the stack, Demonic Consultations. Jimmy then exiles his library, but with the Thassa's trigger still on the stack, Cedh responds with an Angel's Grace to stop Jimmy from winning. This does, though, give Fernando another card.
Dispel.
Split second.
I don't have any mana.
No, I'm dispelling myself from this game.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Fernando at this point has drawn too many cards as he starts off casting a Teferi Time Raveler. Cedh does respond by sacrificing his captain to prevent Fernando from casting non-creature spells this turn, although Fernando does respond to this with a Venser's Shaper Savant. He could have waited, but decides to go through with it and bounces Hidden's Karn. Fernando then downticks Teferi to bounce the Sarah's Ascendant, and with this he has all the combo pieces he needs to infinitely flicker his board with Brago, letting him draw his deck and bounce everyone's permanents back to their hands with Venser. No one has any more answers, and the table concedes. Game review. Well, damn. Turns out while a fish is good, Rhystic can be just as powerful. In hindsight, we really shouldn't have been feeding him all the cards, but dang, it single-handedly won Fernando that game. Although it was clutch for Cedh to have an Angel's Grace to stop Jimmy. I also think that shows just how powerful Thassa's Oracle can be. Jimmy had almost no impact this game, but still almost won it regardless. Big props to Fernando for playing it so coolly, even with the Karn stopping his shenanigans. As for Hidden, he played alright, although he did miss a few opportunities to gain extra treasure, and it definitely shows that this was one of the first time he played this list. But, question for the viewer, do you ever feed the fish? Let me know in the comments down below. Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I just wanted to let you know that we have a TCG affiliate link, and if you ever see a card you want to try or are inspired to brew something new, use our link when purchasing and we'll receive a small portion of the sale. This is a great way to support the channel, and if you enjoyed the gameplay, please leave a like and subscribe, as it really helps us keep making videos. And remember, never give up, even if you're dead on board. I'll see you guys later.